Hey y'all. So, of course, you think FBAs is supposed to continue to work hard after doing all the hard work for free? Of course, our ancestors said no, ma'am. Of course, a person will hurt you for helping them. Of course, you want to benefit off of America's wealth and America's culture, but of course, continue to forget America was made off of hundreds of years of unpaid, matter of fact, hundreds of years of brutal unpaid labor. Of course, the white tea people ancestors also used love bombing tactics. Promises were given. Documents and pictures were burned. Of course, we hid and kept some of our shit. Of course, we didn't tell y'all. Of course, we knew y'all didn't care about the black indigenous land being snatched and them being reclassified as Negro. Of course, you would rather believe the slave story of the captives and the kidnappers. Of course, you hope in justice for the victims. Of course, you believe it was more than 200 Africans that came to America, as if back in the day, as if we had the proper ships for that. Of course you would believe that. Of course, duh. All respect, but you look like your family came to America for a better life, and I bet not none of y'all thought to even think about thanking a FBA ancestors for their blood, sweat, and tears for that 14th Amendment that's actually on the line right now. It might be stripped, but of course you're ungrateful, and of course you don't care, and of course you were never planning on going back to your homeland and save it. So of course that's why y'all looking down at us for trying. Of course.